Hello there, it's Honeysuckle here. Long time no seen, eh? Well, I've got a card to share with you today, and I'm using watercolor paper and the paint a flower stamp from Altenew called Poppy, along with the watercolor pencils from Altenew. I got these pens early 2020, and I am still learning figuring out how I like to use them, and so far I am really loving them. I am not a watercolorer per se, but I do like to color, so why not have fun with these markers? I stamped the image using VersaMark ink, which is a sticky ink, and I'm using my Ranger Superfine White Embossing powder to add to the stamped image. The box I'm using I just got from a local store, and I like it because it keeps me less messy when I'm embossing. And then I just use my heat tool to melt the powder into the cardstock. And here are my watercolor brush markers from Altenew, and I'm just picking 3 or 4 colors that I intend to use. I end up using only 3 of them, but like I say, I'm just having fun trying to figure out colors and stuff like that, and yeah, just letting the color flow, so to speak. My work surface is a little bit bright because the sun is really shining today, which is lovely though, but it kind of adds to the brightness of my card, but hey, so be it. I'm just using a water brush for the to add the water in, and I just keep that cloth handy since I will be needing to dry stuff here and there. Now, first off, what I should have started with was wetting the whole surface before adding the color. I mean, it's not a huge mess or a huge wrong thing I'm doing, but it would have made my life a wee bit easier. So that's good to remember next time around. But then I just add water because this is watercolor paper, and therefore I can add lots of water before it starts getting out of hand. And I'm just distributing the color over the flower, and I want to keep the darkest part at the bottom, like of this leaf, in the inner part of the flower or the petal, and I'm just distributing the color then throughout. There's no rhyme or reason, not trying to be perfect in any way, shape or form. I'm just having fun colouring this little flower and enjoying the colour, or the process really. And like I say, I am no expert at all. I just like colour, and I like stamping, and I like crafting, therefore I just like doing this. And I'm just trying to make sure that to keep the paper wet, but not too wet, so that I can always remove a bit of the colour by using the cloth or the brush, and I am always able to add more colour by using the marker. And since watercolour, I do love it because it is very forgiving. And I do like that because I just do like having fun. I'm not trying to be perfect, just enjoying the whole process. Now, just to make sure that this is all dry, I just get to the next color, and I'm using green for the stem, and then I'm using the same green for the leaves on the flower as well. And here I'm trying to learn from my previous mistake and adding water before adding color. and that way I won't need as much and hopefully have a bit more control. I may not always have control, but here I am hoping I do. And like I said, I'm just coloring, having fun, learning how to use these markers, and yeah, enjoying myself. I really like these markers because first of all, they're very handy. I mean, the color is there in the pen, you have a brush, so in a way I could just leave the water brush, but I prefer things to be a bit softer, not too intense, so therefore this works for me. And here I'm adding a darker color just to get a bit more variation of reds in the flower. Oh, and the board I'm using is actually a watercolor board from Altenew, and I like using that because it gives me a bit of space to put the extra color. And maybe sometimes when you're using these markers, especially if they're new, you may have more ink than you want, so I can always make sure that I'm not completely ruining everything by adding color there. And also this is a great place for mixing colors. If I want to add water or blend these or anything, it is really nice, and I just wipe the board clean when I'm done, which is quite handy. And I'm doing the same thing as I did with the flower, adding color. But this time I'm not using another green, it's the same green. I'm just adding a bit to the top, blending it in, trying to get a bit more depth to the whole image. No rhyme or reason, just coloring, having fun, and I'm so not precise, which I enjoy. And when I finish coloring the image, I just give it a few seconds to dry. Doesn't take too long. And I do love splattering. That is just, I love to add that to all my cards. Plus it can hide something that I did wrong, which is nice too. And I'm basically taking a regular brush, using water and some of the leftovers of the green, and just adding it to the background here and there, trying to create some interest to the blank space on the card. I love creating simple cards, or clean cards really, and when I'm doing that I love to add foam to get a bit of dimension to the whole card. And I must say that these double-sided foam sheets from scrapbook.com are amazing. They are such time savers, and I can just cut the shape that I need, stick it to the back, and it is not going anywhere. And it is the perfect dimension for me. And as you see there, I did cut a little big one, or too big, but the small piece will not be thrown away. I will use that for another card. I just love this. Whole sheet foam with adhesive makes my life so easy. And I chose a pink cardstock for the background, and I'm just sticking the image to the card, and it is centered-ish. I'm not being too precise. It's a handmade card, and I quite like the way it looks. And I just want to add a bit of embellishment. So I'm using these Nuvo Drops, and these are the clear ones, meaning that they are clear, but they do have this little rosy pinkish kind of a color, but it's not too overpowering, so it really looks like the perfect touch. And here are some close-ups, and I hope you liked the card. If you make something similar, I would love to see. Well, thank you for stopping by.